A bad day at 75, sunny with no humidity.
Yeah, but you guys got people shitting in the street over there, so I don't know how I feel about that.
Absolutely. It on that end, it is. It's beyond the circus, my man.
Dude, what is it like over there right now?
It really truly is beyond the circus. I mean, literally beyond a circus, and I mean everything from, you know, the politically correct title is homeless, but they're tweakers, right? It's like living really with in the psychotic ward. And a lot of people. I know we're going to go down a rabbit hole here, but this
we're going anywhere we want.
I'm really passionate about this because it's mislabeled and completely misunderstood that they are a huge liability for the masses, and people just want to blow it off as they're homeless. No. They are. It's like living in a psych ward. And people really are underestimating the level of violence and the liability that they're putting themselves in on a daily basis. They're starting to wake up a little bit in the in the Muscle Beach area, because after all the protests, now it's just, you know, all for one for all.
Well, Dave, I was going to ask about it because, you know, I don't want to keep. I don't want to sound like somebody who's mocking liberals, you know, the bleeding heart liberals. It's good to have compassion for human beings. It's good to want to take care of human beings. It's good to do for our fellow man. But these people, the homeless people, there is a level of danger. There's drug use, there's rape, there's violence going on. I know a lot of these families want to just take a bunch of food and go down there and clothe them and go talk to them. And maybe these people just need an ear. You're talking about people who are willing to defecate in the street, who have severe mental health problems. Out here in Chicago, we see them flipping out on street corners, picking up garbage cans, throwing them, yelling at people. It's erratic, violent behavior. So there's a level of that people should be concerned about, shouldn't they?
Well, and here's the other thing. I'll share a short story. A buddy of mine who's an ex-Marine and now a San Diego police officer. I actually did a ride along with him about 2 years ago. Now, this guy, let me set the stage here. This guy is no punk. He was a Marine, recon, and then also in between had a few amateur MMA fights, and I don't know, maybe brown belt in jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai. Walks around at 6 foot, 260 pounds. Let me share this story with you. He dislocated and tore his shoulder trying to subdue, and I'm using air quotes here, a homeless guy, because he was waking him up to move him get him out of the street. He wound up getting in a physical altercation, and he told me, now this is a man that's 260 pounds, retired recon, MMA fighter. He said he choked the guy out twice. The guy came to. He was like fighting Superman. By the time the other squad cars came, there were now 3 guys, you're talking 600 pounds combined, sitting on this guy to get cuffs on him, and he just raises up. He said it's like fighting Superman. Now, you have a single mom walking down the street with her kids, or you have just a regular guy with his family. What happens now?
Oh, God, right? They have it in their mind. I don't mean to interrupt you, but they have it in their mind that you're supposed to be reasoning, and these are people who you're supposed to have understanding for. This is what I was talking about yesterday, and maybe you could talk a little bit about this too. People have to start accepting violence in their lives. If they don't accept the fact that violence can be done to them, they are not going to be willing to do violence back, and they're going to be massive victims.
Yeah, no question about it. Especially, let's 10x that in the times we're living in, and especially the last 2 months of what's really been going on. And if you'd like, I'd love to give everyone a 30,000-foot view of who I am, where I came from, and where I am today, so it gives some context on what I'm talking about. Nothing's coming from a book.
Yeah, no, have at it. People need to know who you are. That's why I wanted you on tonight, because you got some great content.
I'll take them right from day one, man. So I'll give you guys that 30,000-foot view. My name's Dave Daley. I was from the East Coast, born and raised in Jersey, Philly area. My family's from South Philly. But I was born in a town right outside of Philly, hometown of Tommy Lasorda and Mike Piazza, for all you Dodger fans out there, Norristown. But I was put up for adoption at birth. First 18 months of my life, I was in an orphanage in North Philly, adopted by two amazing, amazing human beings. Left back in the second grade, diagnosed with ADD, said I had a learning disorder, and never graduated high school. At 19, I'm sitting in a jail cell looking at 8 to 10 if things don't go my way. And once they kicked me out of high school, I realized that I had that entrepreneurial DNA. So over the last 20 plus years, I've built and sold 3 companies in 3 different industries, but also more importantly, I crashed one to the ground. And there's not a university in this world, Don, that could have taught me what I learned in that window of time. But my 2 businesses, I had a fire restoration business, which I have one right now in SoCal, and then also a public adjusting firm in Northeast Philly. The reason I share that, I spent 17 years in the most violent cities that this country knows: Camden, Trenton, Newark, North Philly, Southwest Philly. I had rental properties. I literally did business every single day in the inner city. I knew those cities better than I knew my own neighborhood. So there's a lot of people talking a lot of smack on social media, on the mainstream media, that have no idea what the real world is in the inner cities. They have no idea what you need to do to be able to not only survive, but thrive in some of these inner cities. And if anybody's questioning what I'm talking about, just Google Camden.
How did it get that way? Because here we had, Chicago was bad, then it got better, now it got bad again. I remember being in my 20s and having a little bit more liberal mind and dating people who were like, I want to live in the city. And then I got older, as a cop, I'm like, if I ever had a child, I want to raise them with diversity in the city of Chicago. And I was like, are you out of your mind? People, they have no idea, truly. It's just a softer generation of these people who are now. I don't know how the hell it got so out of hand. I don't know how it got so out of hand. And I don't know how it can be recovered from that when one group of people is willing to commit violence and another is not.
Yeah, I mean, my personal belief, Dom, is it's been constructed. It's been a plan, and it 10x'd, if you will, once old man Bush got in. That's just my belief. I believe that this has been a structured plan to create the masses and have them need and live off of the government, and they just happen to start in these inner cities. And now what we're seeing, and if anybody's questioning what I'm saying, just open your eyes in the last 6 months, right? We're talking about, we're living in times, Dom, that is like, it's like living in a movie, right? It's just one thing after the other, and I personally, my personal belief, Dom, is if Clinton would have got in office, we would have been 3 years in, I would have been dead. The United Nations Army would have been kicking doors in, and anybody that's willing to protect their liberty, protect their family, would have been dead.
Well, we're coming up to that point, though. So we're coming up to that point. What do we do? Because you know what I talked about? I'm not wearing a mask. Got my governor out here saying Governor Pritzker says anybody who isn't wearing a mask is an enemy of the people. We have no common sense. All of this. I want my rights. I'm not going to give up my guns. And I think about this every day. Am I willing to put my money where my mouth is? I shoot off on the radio every night. Hey, I'm not going anywhere. You have to take me. I am. I have to be willing to do this. I have to be 100% willing to be arrested for not wearing a mask, for not for always exercising my right to free speech and to keep and bear arms. If Trump does not get reelected, a war is coming. He made the statement saying that he told Chris Wallace about not being willing to leave. Or accept the results. I don't think there's half the population would not accept the results if he wound up getting booted out of office.
Yeah, I think the best way for me to answer your original question is really this, Dom, is keep your head on a swivel, make decisions on a daily basis on what you're willing to do, not willing to do, and I think we have to play this out until November and then see where it all plays out. Unfortunately, me and you are going to be that we're going to be defensive, right? We're going to have to play the defense right now until we see where all this plays out. And yeah, so I think that's all we could do right now is just play defense.
Well, Dave, so you're into business, you're into coaching, you're into branding, you're into motivating, and obviously what you're speaking about is motivating. Have you wound up changing the way that you do business to have people embrace more of the fearless side of saying, hey, listen, if you're a patriot, utilize that for your business? Because and here's something that we don't talk about much on the show is I'm an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur, and we do not talk about the dangers of being in business, being fearless about your political alignments, and watching those leave. Like I said, I lost a deal a couple of weeks ago because of my language, because I use the C word a lot. And I said, okay, that's fine. But every time I'm more me, I'll lose 200 people, but I'll gain 2,000 people in support. Have you started to talk to people about embracing their passion as being patriotic and how it could affect their business, which will affect positively their lives?
Oh, 1,000% right behind me. One of my quotes is your vulnerability becomes your credibility. Here's the deal in 2020, 21, 22. It's all about authenticity. It's all about the realness. And if we flip those numbers around, Dom, and you lost 2,000, but you gained 200, you're still way ahead of the game because those 200 are much more powerful for your brand, for your end result than those 2,000 could ever be. A lot of times those 2,000 are just going to get in the way and create more hiccups, right? So understanding the world we live in, the worst thing you can do is live a lie in the world we live in this social media world, right? Because you will be exposed. Father Time always tells the truth, especially in the times we live in. So if you're not willing to be yourself, you're going to disappear.
Dave, what should people start doing? You're in a business now where you're ahead of the curve. I don't want to assume your age, but you have to be around my age. We didn't come from a digital age, and we're seeing now people who want to go up and put out a product that is catered to what they think should be seen. You talk about authenticity, which is something that I'm a huge fan of. It's why I love my platform. I could be really who I am. I truly, if you saw the other day, and if you did, I apologize for it. I put a picture of me up online wearing nothing but a mask around my genitals because I said I would. Because I told people, I said, you know what? I said the only time I'm ever going to wear a mask is if I have it around my junk, and that's it. So Saturday I get up and I'm like, you know what? Screw this. I'm 5'7". I'm 220 pounds. I'm a fat son of a bitch. Gyms have been closed for God knows how long here. So I've got the COVID-19 man boobs going on, all this shit, my big 36-inch waist. And I take that mask and I cover my little bitty, twigs and berries, and I put a picture up. And everyone's like, oh my God. It blew me away. Some people got it. Those who knew me got it. But everybody out there, oh, you're embarrassing yourself. Why would you do this? You're going to lose credibility. Oh, you're in business. You're in this, and you're putting this kind of picture up there. You ran for politics. You're putting up there. And people said, no, this just validates he doesn't give a shit what anybody thinks about him, what they say about him, and he is who he is. How important is that for young entrepreneurs going out there to, when they're trying to establish credibility, that they start that off the foundation?
It's everything. It truly is everything. But here's the rub to that. It has to be authentic, right? It has to be truly you and what you truly believe in to create that powerful tribe. But I also see the flip side of that, people that are trying to be something that they're not, just to gain more followers. And if that picture that you put up isn't for, if that truly isn't somebody else, don't try and mimic that. Just be you and let the cards fall where they may.
We have Dave Daley on with us. Dave, what's your website for people who want to check it out too, by the way?
Yeah, so it's Dave Daley, DALEYMM.com, like Monster Motivator.
And then what areas of specialty, what's your area of specialties that you wind up coaching people in?
Overall, really pretty much life and business and branding. I have we're going to have to get you on, man. I have a podcast called Brand Builder TV. I just had David Rodriguez on. It was awesome, man. We lit it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, all about branding and marketing in today's world. 2020, not 2004. Big difference. And especially where we're going in the next 5 years is going to be out of control. So that's my main thing that I coach and teach when it comes to motivation and public speaking.
Can you talk a little bit about the fact that for the last 7 months, everybody's been paranoid, COVID, jobs are being lost. Is this a good time for people to reinvent themselves? And if so, what are some steps that you recommend doing and starting off on that path?
Oh my God, it's to me, it's so blatant. Online, man. Think about this. The people are stuck home, and the ones that aren't stuck home, like me and you, we don't want to go into a store because we don't want the aggravation of them asking us why we're not wearing a mask. So it's pushing people to stay home, and people, what are you going to do? You're going to buy online. So I just launched a line of, I didn't just launch, it's been a 3-year process, but we're just ready to launch line of canine supplements. E-commerce, things that are online is what you want to start to brand and market, because that's where everything has been going, and now it's even 10x with this scandemic nonsense.
I keep thinking about it. We have tragedies all over the place. People are losing their jobs. 2 million people out of work. But I had a conversation with a guy who was involved in IT like 2 years ago. And we didn't obviously know about a pandemic coming about or some farce quarantine lockdown, but he had talked about AI coming up and saying people don't realize right now you've got computers taking over your jobs. Look at the kiosks at McDonald's, look at GPS, look at all this stuff. And I went, okay. And he had said that there's going to be a great point in time too in the world where if people don't reinvent themselves and understand that the 9-to-5 working, trading dollars for time is going to go away. You have to find out what your skill set is what you provide for people to make money, and that's how you're going to survive. But there's going to be a very big growing pains in America, if not the world, coming soon. And then boom, we fast forward now. How much do you think that COVID has changed how we're going to wind up working going forward? Do you think businesses are going to permanently shut down, not reopen? Do you think there's going to be a massive culture change? Do you think it's going to be a dribble effect? Where do you see business and the economy going after this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of all the above that you just mentioned, because you can think about it. 24-hour fitness, I just got a letter in the mail that, they filed bankruptcy, right? They're probably not going to reopen. And there's plenty of mom and pop businesses that just couldn't make it. And then think about this. Talk about, I owned a restaurant. I understand how skinny the margins are. Now they want them to run that same skinny margin on 25 or 50% capacity. It's absolutely insanity. So yeah, online, just do your due diligence, figure out what jives for you, and then jump in with both feet. For me, it's the e-commerce sector, and that's what I'm focusing my focus on right now is the e-commerce sector.
And if people do want to get a hold of you for coaching, how can they do that?
Again, I'm real easy to find on all my social media platforms. Dave Daley MM, real easy to find. Yeah. So, yep.
Oh, fantastic. I love talking about business. I love talking about entrepreneurial aspects because people they don't have to be terrified. But I guess this is great because if you don't light a fire under your ass on everything on this, I mean, even if it's coming down to like the original thing we were talking about, protecting yourself from, danger when you don't think it's there, or starting to sit there and say, hey, I can't afford to sit back and be comfortable and think that my job at Starbucks is going to be there after these governors decide to stop running our lives. I have to reinvent myself. It does take it's a small percentage. It takes a strong type of person. You said a great word. I actually wouldn't mind if you kind of went into this a little bit. Talk about vulnerability as far as a lot of people see that as weakness. That's really not the case, though, is it? Especially when you be going into the business world.
Oh, it's especially in today's world where it's 10x, because when you start to share you could, if anybody could speak on this, you can, because of your brand and what you've been doing, right? Is once you start to share that vulnerability, you become bulletproof. It doesn't matter what someone finds that you did 10 years ago. You already shared that, right? It doesn't matter. You own that. Now you become bulletproof. Here's the other thing that I want to share, so it really sets home with people. At the end of the day, people have to understand that this is nothing new. If you look back, the ones that, when it was just radio and TV was just starting to come on the scene, and those businesses that laughed at the TV and said, no, that's just a fad, and didn't evolve, eventually either had to jump on or they got run over. I always say the evolution train is leaving with or without you. Are you getting on, or is it going to run you over? Because I don't make the rules. Dom doesn't make the rules. Life makes the rules. And life says evolution is going to happen with or without you. The question is, are you going to get on that train, or is it going to run you over?
Dave, we're going to talk about solutions next. We're going to take a break in a minute or two here, but we do a lot of complaining. We do a lot of bitching. We do a lot of ranting. That's what everybody does on social media, right? We wind up getting our phones. We set it up. We go live, and then all of a sudden, blah, 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 we start complaining. But solutions are something that not a lot of people come up with. Well, after the break, I want to kind of talk about if Dave was given the staff of power to run California and the country, what would you do? Kind of want to hear your thoughts on where the future is going to go. See if President Trump is going to get elected back in office, and just kind of goes from some stuff from there. But Dave's your website one more time. I'm sorry.
Sure. It's Dave Daley, DALEYMM, like monstermotivator.com.
And then how'd you get the title Monster Motivator?
You know what, man? It's just my DNA, man. I love it, and I love the feeling of
you're
motivated
down there. You're all tatted up. You're jacked. I like the gray hair, goatee, and blue eye stuff, man. You and I could be brothers there. It's ridiculous. I got Nesta. How old are you?
I'll be 54 in September.
Yeah, you're the older brother, just to let you know. You got me by almost a decade. That's a good damn thing, and I'll wind up showing my older brother respect out of California. I have no idea what you did. I can't imagine. God, your state's going to be put back on lockdown. People just definitely. I have so many friends out there in California who keep talking about how bad it is. We've had Tito Ortiz on with Amber, and they talk about it. And I can't fathom for the life of me having one of the most beautiful states in the world, or beautiful areas in the world. It's a beautiful state in the country, and it goes to shit like this. And
it's sad.
It's horrible. It's horrible. It
is absolutely sad. And here's one thing I want to add real quick.
Hold on, Nick, because it's going to cut into a break.
Okay.
Hold on to what you're going to add after the break. Dave and I'll be right back. Talk more about what we're going to do to solve the problems.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go, and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-452-1075. 800-452-1075. That's 800-452-1075.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
800-218-6473. 800-218-6473. 800-218-6473. That's 800-218-6473.
We don't care what you stick where, but we're not paying for it. Comprende?
How many times have I said that to you after a night out drinking? Damn it, there are no tampons in the men's bathroom.
I am saving every bit of that.
The Daily Mojo.
How many times have I walked out in utter disgust and anguish looking for a tampon?
With Brad Staggs.
Welcome to the next 30-second promo here on Mojo 50.
Weekdays, 8 Eastern. The most exciting radio show on the planet. The Rants of Izzo. Dominick Izzo. The Rants of Izzo.
Rambro Jesus. Because we're all about, you know what, you got to balance out my racism on this platform. Izzo's a racist. He's so racist. Yeah, whatever. This man. Dude, I've got the ass of a 300-pound black woman, so I'm not racist. Jen should wind up really clipping that out right there. That was the 15-minute mark into the new
The Rants of Izzo. Tonight at 7. Mojo 50.
All right, gang, we are back. Mojo50.com, Rants of Izzo. Make sure you wind up listening to every other show out there we have. We have now joining us Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. Critical Thinking with Andrew Cobbins and Pat Oney. They're now 5 days a week, respectively. We love having them on. Rocky Stucci's going to be on later on tonight at midnight. Stephen and Dylan on the Defenders live after me. We have a great lineup for you, and you need to be listening every single night of the week. Or well, to be honest, we're the only free speech platform left. That's it. There's no other. You're seeing people. Twitter deletes 150,000 Q-related accounts, which validates that they're dangerous as far as for them. That's going to be ridiculous. But we got Dave Daley on with us today, talking just about all things that are just the topics of what's going on life as business, life in general. But let's talk about some solutions. Dave, you don't seem too much like somebody who turns the other cheek when it comes to ignoring spilt milk. You clean this stuff up. What are some things that you could talk to, younger generation or anybody you would mentor about taking responsibility that this is their world and they actually have to kind of get their head in the game if they're going to get involved?
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree anymore. And before I jump into my personal list, what I think needs to be done first for this state and for pretty much the country, the whole country. Let me just share real quick, Dom. Stop buying in to the liberal bullshit mindset and conditioning. Here's what I mean. I spent 17 years in the most violent cities that this country knows. People used to ask me all the time, how come you don't carry? I said, well, it's a liberal state. I can't, right? I bought into that bullshit. Let me tell you, 4 months ago, I just got my concealed carry here in California. I got people that are ex-military, ex-law enforcement that are in Vegas and attorneys are in Vegas saying, oh my God, how did you do that? It's conditioning bullshit. Anybody that in California that doesn't have a felony that wants to get their concealed carry, reach out to me. My buddy who's an ex-Marine runs classes and he will get you your concealed carry. Not only that, the sheriff's department couldn't jump through enough hoops to help me. So I had to share that, Dom, because it's conditioning bullshit, thinking that we can't get it and we can.
Yeah,
So-
but you come from a generation where we did stuff. You know, we wanted something, we went after it. You can't do that anymore. You can't. It blows me away. I learned that lesson when I was a cop. So I remember my first 2 years on, you know, you had like specialty positions, right? You wanted this, you wanted the canine, you had to put in for it. You wanted a certain type of a tactical school, you wanted to put in on it. And I came from a mindset where, all right, I'm going to perform to the top of my ability. And when my supervisors see my performance, they're going to put me in where they think they need to. And 2 years goes by, I don't get sent to any schools or anything. So I talked to my sergeant one day. I'm like, you know, listen, I kind of hoping to go to some schools. He goes, are you asking to go? Well, no. I was, dude, you're in a competitive field with type A personalities. You have to go for what you want. So I'm like, shit. Because I kept thinking, oh, this person's got seniority. That's why they're going to that school. This person's got more of this. That's where they're going. It's all about, you want that, go get it. You don't have that. There is none of that today. Today it is, I deserve this. This is mine. Give it to me. Entitlement. That is a massive problem that people are ingrained with. Can we flip that switch and educate these people, or are they lost causes?
Well, I think there's definitely some that can be and some that just can't be. And really what it comes down to is victims never win. So if you're going to adopt that victim mentality, that's the results you're going to get in your life. And that's just, again, life's rules, man, not mine, not yours. Life says that victims never win. So they're either going to become a victim long enough, hit rock bottom like an addict, and then climb their way out of it, or they're going to stay a victim. But yeah, and all we can really do is control our world. And, I have some thoughts on what needs to be done. And I think the administration is definitely doing that to start to turn this around when you're talking practical steps.
Well, no. Lay it on us. What do you think needs to be done? You got the staff of power, right? You get the staff of power. You are emperor of the world. What are you doing? Because we want to hear solutions. Because I'm guilty. I'll just bitch about it. I want to know solutions.
Well, first and foremost, man, and again, these things I believe the administration is working on, has been working on, and definitely has made great strides, is voter fraud. We have to stop the bleeding. We have to turn that around, because without that, nothing matters. Nothing matters, right? If there's major voter fraud and you're thinking you're doing the right thing and everyone's thinking their vote counts and it doesn't, now what? Now there's no return. And
go ahead.
And we also found out, look, these are facts, man. Google it and DuckDuckGo and all that other shit that you want to do, and people that want to do that question is, but who owned the voting machines? Soros and Dianne Weinstein's husband, right? There's been major voter fraud going on for a long, long time. And I wish I saved it, Dom, but there was a screenshot with Gavin Newsom and I forget the guy's name that he was going against. And it literally at the very end, it showed like 46 to 53 Newsom lost, and miraculously he's our governor.
I don't get these legacy relationships where you've got Pelosi, her nephew, the Bushes, the Clintons, the Kennedys. This is a monarchy. This country is breeding people to be put in that spot, which is why I believe, you had the Muslim in chief terrorist who wasn't born here. That's just my views. But he was put in that position as a freshman senator from Illinois, of all places. Dear God, Tammy Duckworth, please don't be his nominee. Ugh, she's my neighbor. What are your thoughts on what's going on right now with this pandemic? Is it political? Do you think that Biden's going to continue in this? What are your political views on this whole last couple of months?
It's absolutely a planned attack, and like I said, I think everything's been planned for a long, long time, but it 10x'd when old man Bush got in, and then just got worse and worse and worse with the wars. And I think that we're going to find out really what happened with 9/11, and then also the Vegas shootings. I think there's so much going to be coming out, but going back to like fixing things. The other things that that have to be put in place are term limits audit, and then make these politicians legally accountable for issues. I just posted something. I think it was either North Dakota or South Dakota. The governor is $18 million in the black, right? She's running her state and she's in the black, like $18 million or $16 million in the black. That's what happens when there's when there's term limits and when there's no collusion and there's no, my aunt was the governor 8 years ago. My uncle was this, my dad was that. I mean, it happens everywhere. I mean, I was in the unions in Philly, Ironworkers Union, Laborers Union. It's all that same bloodline, man, that really dictates everything. We have to cut that off.
I never understood union-wise why the union workers are more conservative, but the union delegates are Democratic. It blows me away. Biden says, I was having a discussion with my father last night. We're talking about Biden's going after the unions. And I said, well, these union workers are all going to be pro-Trump. And he goes, doesn't matter. He's going after the union heads. Unions, they're Democrats. Union heads.
Follow the money.
It just blows me away. But we're stupid. We don't see it. We keep voting in. Even in the unions, we keep voting people in who are running this and robbing us blind. What was the climate like acclimating from the East Coast and politics there, going to the West Coast there? How did you wind up making that change now that I think about it?
Well, I'll be honest with you, man. I offended a whole lot of people.
There you go.
And I actually talk about authenticity and the realness, man. When I came out here, I didn't know what business I was going to do, but I made a deal with myself. If I'm coming out here, didn't know anybody, moved across the country in 2008, it was going to be a business that I love. So I actually opened up a sports nutrition. I actually bought a struggling sports nutrition store. November 2008, the worst economy we knew since the Depression. Never knew anybody out here. And within the first year and a half, we tripled the numbers. And then by 2012, it made sense to flip it. But my point going to all this is my authenticity, right? So when people would come in and they were wishy-washy or they weren't sure, they couldn't make a decision, I'm going right at them. Listen, this isn't rocket science. Here's the deal. Bam, 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 bam. And I got more people that would come back and say, man, we just love that you kept it real. We knew where you stood. We love that East Coast flavor. I'm sure I offended a lot of people that never came back as well. But at the end of the day, your tribe stays true to you when you stay true to yourself.
Did you find a lot of people out there weren't used to your way of stuff, and they found it completely genuine, and they're like, "Shit, we need more of this type of person out here"? I mean, did you get?
Yeah, Dom. So what I get is, first of all, they'd be some of them, especially the people that were born and raised here, a little taken back, and then almost all the time I'd hear, like on a side, "Yeah, I love East Coast people. I love that. I love that." And so great. I share the story with you real quick. So I'm in the back and I'm getting the I'm getting my accounting done, and I'm in my office and I have the door closed, but I can hear what's going on. So I got my guy that's working there, Anthony, local athlete, born and raised here, and he's going over this protein with this lady, and she just keeps going back and forth, but I don't know, maybe I should do that. And he's standing on his head, Dom, trying to get her to understand that after 10 minutes of that, I throw the pen up in the air, that's it. I walk out, I go, listen, this isn't rocket science. Here's why he's telling you to buy this protein, because these are your goals. This is going to get you closer to what you want to do. Lean, hard muscle. And she goes, oh, okay. So she buys it. She goes, thank you so much, and leaves. And Anthony's looking at me with his jaw. I go, Aunt, you just got to tell her like it is. You're the expert here. They want guidance.
So why are people not following that when it comes down to politics? When our country, I 100% agree with you. And it does come down to a point of, that's back to that no BS, authenticity. But we have a person who's in office right now who is that. And you have millions and millions and millions of people who literally can't handle it. And you and I talked this afternoon about it. They're dangerous. Yes. They are dangerous people.
I believe it's a combination, Dom, of people that are still asleep and then people that are semi-awoke but think that they're too smart to be a conspiracy theorist, right? And I'm using air quotes here, conspiracy theorists, because they don't believe that the government or anybody could get over on them. Talk about a scary combination. That's a scary combination, man, of somebody that actually thinks that they're too intelligent and that the government would never do that. I think they're in for, if the administration keeps going the way they're going, a lot of people are in for a rude awakening.
We grew up with that. Now, my parents are baby boomers. I have to assume that your parents were along it too. We grew up with that. They trusted the government. Your government would never screw you over. I love the movie Cinderella Man, Great Depression. And in one of the scenes, Russell Crowe, who's a down on his luck boxer, is talking to his daughter, and they're saying that, FDR, he's gonna pull him out of this. They had faith in their president, like a lot of us do now. But now, I'm kind of glad you referenced it. Yeah, I don't care how many times I look at 9/11, none of that makes sense to me. And I 100% believe that my government knew and had a hand in something that went on about that. What? And no. Stop it with your conspiracy theories that you think that billions of dollars was missing from the Defense Department the day before, and then all of a sudden the next day it all goes, the buildings get hit. Oh, you're out of here. You're kidding me, right? These people who we blindly elect and put into office, the Hillary Clintons, the George Bushes, all of this, how hard is it for them to sit there and think, we run the world? We absolutely run the world, and they can do whatever they want.
And they have been, right? They have been up to this point. And we're just, I truly believe, and I told you this, I think earlier today, and, if she would have got in, I wouldn't be here. I just believe that. Let me share something else that is really important in the times we live in, Dom, and I think it'll put some context. So when I was adopted at 18 months, my parents were in their mid to late 40s. So my dad was a World War II 82nd Airborne vet. So that my mom, they were two generations ahead. So they were like my grandparents' age, right? So I was raised with, they call it the greatest generation, and they were amazing people. But let me share this, and these are two true stories that spans close to 100 years in this country. So my dad was born in 1925. He was born and raised in Philly. He's 15, 16 years old. He's taking this girl out on a date, and he was raised in the Irish section. He takes this girl out on a date to go to a movie or ice cream on the trolley. When he's taking her home, the trolley stops at her stop, and he goes to take her off the trolley and walk her down the street. And she goes, you can't do this, right? He goes, you're right. She was born and raised in the Polish section.
Yeah. He
couldn't go down that street. Let me go now to 1966, 67, 62, somewhere in the 60s. My ex-business partner, who's a very good, like a brother to me, where I grew up, I'm half Italian, half Polish, right? So I grew up with, everybody was Italian, just either Irish or Italian or German. That's how we grew up. So my business partner and his wife, his girlfriend at the time, her dad was wanting to call for a shore house for his family, a vacation home in the summer. He calls the landlord up. Guy says, oh yeah, this is what it costs. This is how much it is. And this is what we have open. Great. So he goes to book it. And the guy says, LaRusso. He says, yeah, that's mine. He goes, you're Italian? He goes, yeah. Because we don't rent to you people. This is in the 60s.
Yep.
Now, I'm sharing this with everyone that they understand that this didn't just happen to certain people now. This has happened since the beginning of this country. But the difference is, are you a victim or are you a victor? Are you going to work your way out of it, or are you going to stay there and be the victim?
I keep saying it. This is not you. We didn't have this conversation. I didn't invite you on to arbitrarily side with me. These are my words, not yours. I have seen no other community, and this is just me, and we're not going in this direction, but it can be. You only today have one community, which seems to be liberals. And these whites are capitalizing off of the liberal blacks and their emotional state. But I don't see anybody who is not a liberal or a liberal black or a liberal white that is complaining about their lot in life and not busting their ass. I'm not used to that. I live in an area 25 minutes northwest of Chicago. I was in the city every single day. I don't have any problem in the city. I can go online, see how violent it is. I don't care about. When I ran for sheriff, I went in the shit neighborhoods to go campaign. Doesn't bother me. I got a few screws loose. Fine. But I can't believe today the youth out there that is so we abuse the word entitled. Entitled. They have no comprehension of how shitty life is. And if you bust your ass hard enough, you can turn it around. They don't do it. They don't get it. And it makes no sense to them. I have a very terrified outlook on where the future is going to go. If something like Biden gets elected, part of me is terrified, not because we're going to go that way, but because we're going to get people like you, people like me, people who are going to be like, all right, fine. There's no law and order. We will take what you have to survive, and we're not going to care about it. And that's going to be a very bad day for the world when that winds up happening.
100%. But I also believe that Trump didn't get in by accident. I believe that there's been a plan put in place for quite a while. So I also, at the same time, what keeps my sanity, Dom, is the administration has had a plan, is unfolding the plan, and a lot of things that we're seeing is theater. And I think that things that are going to come to light that we never even could remotely imagine could now be a part of our life, but then also some of the evil things that has been happening right under our noses for a long, long time. So I think it's going to be a combination of like shock and awe.
All right, let's talk about that for a second, because you're a mentor and you're a coach. You know, if you do believe the child sex trafficking, I had Liz Crokin on last night. Very, very, very credible. One of the most credible journalists in the world who's talking about the child pedophile rings. And she's talking about things that the human beings will not be able to comprehend. Doing more than just raping and murdering children. They're sacrificing all this. Dave, when this comes to light, because right now I personally believe that the racism, the pandemic, all the hatred is a distraction. Human beings are not designed to hate each other to this level. We just don't. You know, if one thing that 9/11 did teach us is watch how very instantaneously fast we all come together. If these tragedies are brought to light and we are seeing the deep state, child pedophile, all of these things of the magnitude that everyone's been talking about, you're going to get a shock, but you're also going to get togetherness, and people are going to come together for the sake of these victims. How are people supposed to cope with some things that they can't even possibly comprehend coming to light?
Well, I think it's going to be just like anything else, right? I think there's going to be a certain percentage that are going to be able to jump in, roll up their sleeves and help out. Then there's going to be some that are just going to be in shock, trying to figure out what to do. And then there's going to be a small percentage, believe it or not, no matter how much evidence, is still going to be in denial.
God, that's scary.
It is. But here's what I believe. When this comes to light with the evidence that is irrefutable, and that small percentage still will not accept it, are really going to be ousted. I don't think they're going to be, because you're talking about a level of sickness and a level of evilness that most don't think is possible on such a large scale. And here's the other thing, Dom, that I think we should really share is some things that people can, and I did this with David Rodriguez, for people that think that we're wearing these tinfoil hats and we're out of our mind. I want to share some timelines and some things that you can actually go look up yourself. So when you start to educate yourself on the Las Vegas shooting, find out for yourself, don't take my word for it, who owned that suite in that hotel that supposedly that one lone shooter brought up all that ammo and everything else. Who owned that suite? Could it be Bill Gates and Prince Aloid? And find out who Prince Aloid is. Do a little bit of homework on that and find out if Trump and the other prince from Saudi Arabia were in that hotel that night. And then look at the timelines and say, well, that's interesting that Saudi Arabia's prince that was in that hotel now did a purge right after that and rounded up 22 of the most horrible princes in Saudi Arabia, put them in the Ritz-Carlton, and pretty much shook them down and said, you're either gonna come clean, or we're gonna take all your money and your freedoms away. So that's just one little thing that people can look up to see if our tinfoil hats really hold up or not.
I had no idea about that. Jeez. Dave, we got a couple of minutes left here. I mean, what is it? Is it prep for the worst, but still work for the best in the next couple of months as we go forward?
I think that's all we can do is just stay alert, pay attention to your surroundings, and and hope that hope that Q is right, and hope that this administration does have a handle on things, which I really do believe they do. And I think there's just a lot of things that is theater. And I also believe, Dom, that unfortunately, because so many people have been asleep for so long, that you have to get to a point where you have to show them and not tell them.
Yeah, no, again, this whole Q thing just got validated even more last night by Twitter, just deleting all those accounts. It's like, why would you ever acknowledge something that you want to try to discredit to that level? That was insane, absolutely insane. Hey, listen, we want to just have a chit chat talk tonight about life and everything that's going on. Can we get you back on for kind of like some financial discussions later on in the future, some entrepreneur segments?
Yeah, love to, man. Love to, and I'd love to get you on my show, Brand Builder TV.
100%. If people want to listen to your show, how can they find out? Go and listen to your content.
Yeah, so check us out on YouTube. We have, I think we're getting up there about 12 or 13,000 subscribers right now. On YouTube, Brand Builder TV. We're real easy to find. So we do it via Zoom, and we've had some awesome people on, and ex-Navy SEALs, ex-recon guys. We just had David Rodriguez on. Now we're gonna have my man on, Dom Izzo. So yeah, man, awesome show.
Brand Builder TV, love that. Check them out on YouTube. It's Dave Daley MM.com, DaveDaleyMM.com. That's DALEY, not DAILEY, DALEYMM.com. Definitely, if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to need to hook up with this man. Branding is huge, and this is something why I 100% would go to Dave. Is I am not going to listen to some 21-year-old personal trainer out there who's going to tell me at 45 how to lose weight. Why would I go to a 21-year-old kid who is I know how to build your brand online? I want somebody who's been in the trenches for business, somebody who's been able to go from brick and mortar to making the shift. You guys have no idea how difficult it is to have a mindset from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, brick and mortar, to then jumping on technology day and then being successful. So that you absolutely want to go to Dave. That's DaveDaleyMM.com. Dave, man, thank you so much for taking the time out tonight. We needed to have a little bit of a blast, and we did. Thanks. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
All right. All right. We'll talk to you